everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Donald Thomas, and we just came yesterday from watching a game that, in my opinion, at halftime, I was ready to go to bed. I mean, I was so mad. Oh my goodness. I was like, what? This offense can't execute. They have terrible execution in the first half. The defense can't get pressure on Stafford, and they're just doing whatever they want to our defense offensively for the Rams, and it was just awful. And then the second half happened, right? And, forced it over. Had a shot to win it in regulation, right? And just wasn't able to do it. But, Donald, my question, what was your roller coaster ride? Was you feeling the same way I was throughout that game yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it was a steady drop the first half, right? It was just, we were just tanking. And it was just nothing was clicking, right? From the get-go, the Rams came out the gate and they had it, right? And you usually can tell through the course of the game, but especially in the beginning, who's going to have that momentum, who came to play today. And it was LA. LA came to play beginning of the game. And so I was like, oh, this is going to get ugly. And it was just getting uglier. And thank God for halftime.
Right.
Thank God for halftime. And I truly believe, just from my experience, that the Colts went in and did some soul searching and figured some things out. All right, let's stick to our game plan. Guys got behind each other and they rallied the troops. LA went into that locker room, and I guarantee you guys were chilling. Maybe some guys may check their phones. The focus wasn't there. They thought that they had them. These dudes were just done 20-0, and they did not come back out and take care of business. And you see what happens when you don't come out and take care of business. You lose.
Absolutely, man. I feel this. Yeah. Before we get into anything further, I just want to remind everyone that BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, NFL, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. So the biggest stat to me defensively is the fact that the Colts defense was unable to force a punt until like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It was so late. They could not stop this. We were able to, most of the time it seemed like the only reason why they were even trying field goals was because they were messing up offensively, right? That they weren't getting their execution. It wasn't that we were getting the pressures and the stops. We got a few of them, don't get me wrong, but it just seemed like that the Rams for 3/4 of this game was doing whatever they wanted right up until Matt Stafford, had that injury to his leg. And then obviously there was speaking of that, I've got so much damn respect for Matt Stafford. I mean, for him to gut it out the way he did, because you could tell, man, that he was hurting out there on that field, man. And that was pretty impressive.
Absolutely. I mean, but that's why he is a leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why he's a leader. That's why, guys will follow him into battle, because they know, and if they didn't know, now they know what kind of guy they got, behind center, that's willing to go out there and fight when he can barely even walk, to get his team a W. And so, hats off to him, but that's what a true professional is right there. And so him doing that gutsy performance right there, as a Colts fan, you don't want to see him lose, but you got to respect that, right? Like the human element of the game and being able to overcome an injury like that when some guys would have packed it up. It says a lot. It says a lot of his character.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot. I've had respect for him back in his rookie season. I think it was against the Browns, maybe, when he dislocated his shoulder and then come back in and threw the game-winning touchdown, after the injury.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
I'm like,
remember
okay, that tells me all I need to know about this dude. I'm on his corner the whole year. I understand I'm a Colts fan, but I mean, you gotta be an NFL fan too. But so what did you see in the first half overall of why the Colts just wasn't able to move the ball and get points on the board?
Well, that's the obvious. We got zero push at the point of attack up front. We were just getting overpowered, inaccurate throws, on defense, just poor tackling in the secondary, in my opinion. Not enough pressure on the quarterback. I mean, there were sometimes where Stafford was able to hold on to the ball for 2 to 3 seconds with no one even near him. You can't give a guy like that much time. He is a seasoned vet. He is going to find the open target or make a good decision with the football. So, no one forced Stafford's hand to make a bad throw. And then we didn't do anything on offense really in the first half, effective enough to move the needle at all, right? 0 points. And so it just looked like the Colts were flat from the jump. Offense, defense, just flat. There was no life in them. And so that was part of it. I don't know. They just didn't wake up. They were still sleeping, in my opinion.
Yeah. So halftime comes rolling around, and it seemed like the script was completely flipped. Like the Colts offensively started clicking. They started executing the plays that they were out there, as opposed to, like you were saying, just bad passes, drop passes, poor blocking, things of that nature on offense. And in the second half, things switched. Where do you put why the Colts from one half to the other look so different? Where would you point to as the cause of that flip of a switch?
This is from my player perspective, right? Either you're gonna lay down or you're gonna fight. And so I think the Colts at halftime really did some soul searching. I think some guys were yelling in that locker room, and guys responded to it. Guys really responded to it. They turned things up on offense, and then defense definitely turned things up. And honestly, from a standpoint of playing, it's one of those things coaching wise where they were like, okay, like this wasn't working. Let's change the game plan just a little bit. Let's not get too crazy. And I think they got more basic on offense, in my opinion. They started spreading the ball around to different guys. Ogletree stepped up, and he had some big catches. But I just feel like right now with the way Anthony Richardson's playing, I think it's taking him time to get comfortable. It's either he's going to come out the gate and have a dominant performance, or he has to feel his way into a game, right? And so I think this is one of those games where he had to feel his way into the game instead of coming out and just kind of being like that dominant guy from the jump. And that's just rookie jitters and kind of figuring out the kind of player that you're going to be and who you are. But he just has to get more confident. I think he got way more confident in the second half and really started playing. And honestly, he had some bad throws, but some of the throws were very impressive that he made. Like, I was like, dang, I didn't know he could swing the ball like that. So, I mean, yeah, so to see him get more confident, I think, sky's the limit for him. And then the turnovers. He didn't throw a pick. So you got to take the good with the bad, right? I mean, we didn't get a win, but this guy's not turning the ball over either.
No, that throw to Josh Downs over the middle was a heater. Oh my good. I was in shock while I was doing my live reaction. I was like, I don't know how Josh caught that football. That had to hurt his hands, because that ball was coming came out of a cannon. I've seen Josh Allen throw balls like that occasionally, but this was ridiculous seeing it from a Colts fan perspective, because Andrew Luck didn't have a cannon like that, right? No. Peyton Manning, he could throw it early in his career, but not that hard, right? Yeah. I mean, that was something that was used to like, wow. And how Downs was able to come down with that was just amazing. You were right. He did have a few inaccurate. There were some passes I felt like should have been caught in this game. one to Alec Pierce, another one to Alec Pierce, where the defender came in and knocked it out the last second.
Yeah.
Dude's got to learn how to get stronger at the point of the catch and bring it in securely. If he's able to do that, I think he's going to be a good player for us. But if he can't, we have to move on. This is his second season. He's got some more. He's got more training to do, a lot more. And Reggie Wayne is coach, and that was the thing that Reggie was most known for: route running and his ability, his strength at the point of catch. Not getting the ball knocked out. Right. That's how I saw Reggie. So he better really learn from him quickly. Otherwise, my patience with Alec is starting to wear a little bit thin. There was a throw to Kylan Granson.
Yes.
That was just a little bit out. I think Kylan could have caught it, but again, it was a heater and it was out there a little bit, if it was a little more accurate, I think probably would have been caught. Kylan generally makes those kind of catches. They were just off just a little bit here and there, and it really hurt this team. And I think it's just, again, this is where we have a very young team, and you're going to have times like that, right? You're going to have times where you're just like really, really lows on the roller coaster, right? Where you're like, man, things ain't clicking. These guys are young, they're inexperienced, and they're going to make those mistakes. And just as much as you're going to see the high points, like what we saw in the second half, right?
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. I think, from a standpoint of the receiving core, those guys are learning from the best, right? Are hands down, arguably one of the best receivers to play the game. But to be honest, it don't matter if you have the best receiver that ever played the game coaching you. If you can't do something physically, you just can't do it. If you're not the guy, you're just not the guy, right? So like a lot of people do have, their moments where they're like you said, my patience is running thin with Alec, and this is one of those things where we don't have a number one receiver. Like, as much as I want Michael Pittman to be the guy, one reception for 15 yards, you can't disappear like that. Like, we got to, and I think another problem of it is I don't think Anthony knows who his number one, his go-to guy is. Like, yesterday, we knew who the Rams' go-to guy was. Puka Nacua, however you say his name, like, he is turning into the number one guy. And so, you know what I mean? Like, he stepped up. And so, but that's because Stafford is a seasoned guy, and he knows how to find guys, and he knows who's going to be that guy to give him the ball. I just think he's trying to spread the ball too much to guys, and you're putting guys in positions where that guy's probably like the number 3 option on a play, but you're throwing him and you're as your number one guy. He's not the guy for that. You want him to catch a ball because he's wide open, because they're playing off of him. Not the guy that's got to be tight coverage when it's crunch time and you want to give him the ball. And now we're getting upset with Alec Pierce. You see what I'm saying? So like if you watch it, like with Gardner, right? When Minshew's in there, he's going to Pittman because he's like, Pittman's a guy, and Pittman, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But when Anthony's in there, it's more he's spreading the ball around a little bit more. And granted, Ogletree stepped up and has some big catches, huge catches. You know what I'm saying? He's more of a possession of receiver, in my opinion, than a blocker like Mo Alley Cox is, right? So, and he realizes that, but you've got to be able to find your number one guy and expose that instead of making guys that are not the number one guy a primary target.
Absolutely. Speaking of Mo, he had that great catch and run. They just ran over the defender. I was like, wow.
He's a big dude, man.
That's the first time we've seen a play like that from Mo as a Colts fan in like 3 years. So that's what we've been expecting from him for a couple of years now, and he disappeared last year. So like to see more of that from him. I still, to this day, I say we have probably the deepest tight end group right now in football, with Mo and Kylan, and I mean, like you said, Ogletree. We got the rookie Will Mallory, and now Jelani Woods has a shot to come off IR, anytime. So I love this this tight end group for the Colts.
It's a lot of tight ends in the building, though.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
I
We
know
ain't gonna
there's
bet
gonna
we'll
be-
keep them all.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I've never seen that many on one roster, so we'll see what happens with that.
Defensively, I got to get. All right. I didn't see the spark from the defense that I've seen all year round. That jump, that get off, that like what we talked about with Shaquille Leonard a couple weeks back, where that just go into it, full throttle, and you trust your instincts and make the play, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't see that yesterday for most of the game, and on top of that, Gus Bradley. I'm not a DC, but I am a defensive guy. If the opposing team walks down the field 2 drives in a row to open the game, as easy as Matt Stafford and that Rams team does, and scores, and it's up 14-0, and you can't get any pressure on him, you have to change now, right? You gotta do something to get pressure on him, and he didn't blitz hardly at all in this game, right? And unlike what I saw last week, and we talked about it, where you're going to let him, you got to get pressure with your front four, see if you can, but we weren't able to at first. And at that point, I'm like, this is where I would be playing a little more, because Stafford was eating our zone up and we weren't getting pressure. Try something different. Try a little man with send 5, send some hidden blitzes here and there, things of that nature. Now it started to work in the second half, but I'm talking about first quarter wasn't even over with. I would have made in-game adjustments at that point, and I didn't see it. And next thing you know, we're down 20-0 at halftime. And that's just unacceptable. That's just unacceptable for any team, right?
So they come out with a game plan they worked on all week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Gus Bradley had this all cooked up all week. I feel like Gus felt like pressure is only going to help Matthew find a hole quicker and expose us faster than us sit back in the zone, trust our 4 that have been getting pressure all year to do their job. And so, you say the first 2 drives, well, I can't throw the game plan out if the first 2 drives don't work. I just can't throw it out that fast, right? And so a lot of people are upset with him, but from my standpoint, I'm like, I thought he did a better job of regrouping in the second half. Yeah, the defensive game plan was not what we expected for the first half, but at the end of the day, we can say what we want about the game plan. But there's 11 guys out there, and somebody's got to make a play. Mm-hmm. Somebody has got to make a play. That's how I look at it from a player standpoint. Now, we can point fingers at coordinators and position coaches and all that, but damn it, like, you've got 11 guys out there. Somebody's got to make a play. Like, you guys been getting off all year. Front 4, we raved about it last week. Pressure on the quarterback. Now all of a sudden it's obsolete. Like, it's just not there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you guys know that this is a veteran guy. If you guys allow him to sit back there, he's going to pick you apart. And we said that we had some of the better 4 guys up there that are getting pressure on the quarterback, and now we're not getting it, but then we want to blame the coordinators for it. It's like, well, we practice all week about what we're going to do and what the game plan is, and we got to beat one-on-one matchups up front. And we didn't do that the first half. Really didn't do it the second half as well as we should have once Stafford got hobbled. But we'll get into that, I guess. But what I'm saying is, like, the first half, as a coordinator, I got to make adjustments, but I just can't throw it out within the first 2 drives. Like, yeah, they jumped on top of us. But listen, bend don't break, right? Bend do not break, and they did a good job of doing that. Luckily, like I said before, thank God for the halftime.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one of those guys at the Colts, first off, the run defense was awful, right? I mean, we could not stop the run for nothing. And this is a Rams team that was not running the ball very well throughout the year. And, there was questions on whether the Rams would even, look into possibly making a trade for Jonathan Taylor. I've heard rumors about that, I threw that out the window, though, because I still don't think, I've said all year I don't think Colts are going to trade Jonathan. But there was a guy on that offense besides the running game, and you mentioned him earlier, Puka Nacua. Oh, my gosh, that kid. He is wise beyond his years in his route running. I will say that, and being able to find open spots in the zone. He is amazing. And then I think I had all the hopes in the world. Once the Colts got within 8 points of the game, I was like, we have a shot at winning this, right? We have a shot at winning this. And all we got to do is get a stop, get a touchdown, another 2-point conversion. Everything went exactly the way I thought it was going to, right up until overtime. And then I saw Dallis Flowers go down with that injury.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was over. I knew unless we got pressure on Stafford and made him throw way earlier than what he needed to, Dallis Flowers, once he went down, that's a problem because Flowers is our speed cover guy.
Yeah.
On the outside, he's that guy that can do that. And with him out there, not out there on the field, we're down literally our third string guys at that point because, the other guy was benched last week because of poor play. Right. The other outside guy, Baker Jr. So I was worried, and sure enough, Puka, that touchdown winning drive for the Rams, Puka wide open, just took it straight down the field, and there was no one there that could cover him. It was a broken play, in my opinion. He should not have been that wide open.
No. Yeah, I don't know exactly what their responsibility was or why it was a broken play, especially in crunch time.
Yeah,
it's in my opinion, like you can't have those mistakes, and that's what's going to separate the good teams from the bad teams and wins and losses, right? And so when you have those, you fight back all game to get back in this position, and then we have a breakdown in the most critical moments of a football game is just so crucial. But here's the thing, though, right? And so this is what we felt. It's not just the one play. It's not just that scenario. It's just a culmination of the whole game. It's a culmination of everything. It starts up front on both sides of the football, linebacking play, running back play, quarterback play, receive. You didn't gamut, right? Corners, everybody. You can pick and choose a play from every group at any time that we can go back and be like, that was a turning point of the game. That was a turning point of the game. He got hurt, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, yes, it happened in the worst possible time. Puka is a very good player, and he's shown that within the first, 5 weeks of the season going now into it. He's the number one receiver in LA. And people are like, who the heck is this kid? But at the end of the day,
5th round pick.
What is he? What was he?
Pretty sure he's a 5th round pick.
That middle of I'm telling you, those mid rounds, that 3 to 5, 3 to 6, like that's where you find those gems at. And so, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when that happened, I'm like, there it is. But we got to step up too. Like, I'm not letting anybody off the hook. Like, there's certain players that like are just that dominant. Now, like Devontae Adams or somebody like that, or you name it, one of these top receivers in the league, like they do what they do. Okay, that's a guy who's doing it. I can't let a rookie come in and do that. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he's a great route runner, but we can't allow that to happen. We can't.
You talked about every position group. If Matt Gay makes that missed field goal, we win the game. Earlier for the
it
first
always
point right there.
That way. It always. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, it one play.
Yeah.
All we needed was one play from each position group.
Every phase of the ball. Everybody played a role in this loss.
Yep.
Everybody played one of them. Yeah.
Yep.
No one's off the hook.
No one is off the hook in this game. Absolutely agree. We're going to close this out with the AFC South now has 4 teams tied at 2-2. What is your expectations moving forward for the Colts in this division?
It's not a cakewalk. It is not a cakewalk, and I'll say because Houston is heating up ever since they lost to the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
If you watched our prediction show, I said Houston was going to win that game against Pittsburgh. Houston's starting to look good now. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying Houston is, let's not go crazy. But I'm saying within the division, Tennessee's waking up, and Jacksonville's still a wild card. Yes, 2-2 and all that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you right now, this is probably going to be one of the closest division races in the NFL this year, just because of the even playing field of all four teams are just kind of they're all kind of on the same level. You don't know what you're going to get out of any one of them any given Sunday. Sometimes they'll come to play and be professional. Sometimes they're going to, stay asleep in the hotel room. So you just never know what you're going to get. But I'm telling you right now, this is going to be close. It's not a cakewalk just to win the division and get in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see come down the line, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. If you're listening to this on an audio podcast, like say iTunes or whatever, Apple or whatnot, make sure you leave a review. That helps out a ton. And I'm Lawrence Owen. That was Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, go Colts.
Go Colts.
Do you believe?